Welcome back, chess fans. Today I've got something special. It's an exclusive game with Deema, who's one of the new contestants on BBC's Chess Masters The Endgame, and she's going to feature in tonight's episode. So this is a review that me and her go through one of her games that she played in the Women's Chess Open. She played against the WFM, and she gives her thoughts on the moves as she was playing them, and I kind of give my insight as we go through it. I'll put her YouTube link in the description down below, so you go check her out after this, and hope you enjoy. Thanks.
Yeah, June 24,
Nice.
English Women's Chess Championship.
Nice. Where was this held?
Kenilworth.
Okay, interesting.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Do you want me to start clicking through and just kind of stop me as and when things kind of seem interesting? Yeah, like I said, it'd be interesting just to get your thought process on if you can remember back then of what was going on.
Yeah. So G6, I recently had learned that opening G6 and D6 because I thought it kind of throws black aside a little bit, and I like it because it's so safe for black. Before I learned the perk, this one I played G6 leading to the perk. I played the Sicilian. I played E5, and I always found myself from the start getting into positions that are complicated. And I would often end up losing. And the worst kind is to lose when you don't know where you could have gone better.
Yeah.
So I thought, all right, let's try simpler opening. So that's when I started playing G6, D6.
No, it makes sense. And yeah, because I suppose even when I try and think when I had like the white pieces and I play some kind of variants of E4, I don't really have much prep against G6. So I suppose that's quite useful as well. Is that you probably know this if you play this every time with the black pieces more than what your opponent will do. Cool. Yeah, so I presume D4 is probably one of the main moves, and then Bishop G7. Yes, maybe just stop me when there's something that you want to kind of call out. E5. Is this still in your kind of prep at this stage of stuff you've seen a lot of times before?
I think D5 was not prep.
Okay.
It was improvised.
Yeah.
Was it an move?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, because time. I've got some timestamps on there as well. So it was what, an hour and a half for this game. Did you have increment with it as well? Or was it just a kind of flat hour and a half?
We had an increment.
Yeah.
30 seconds. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I think this kind of looks standard. Like I say, I don't play the modern, but it looked well. I suppose it's like a variant of the French almost at this stage with G6 thrown in for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, takes and queen takes.
I think C takes would have been better than queen takes looking back.
Yeah, I think the engine preferred C. Well, it seemed pretty marginal with that, and I presume either's probably playable, isn't it? I suppose if you do C takes, then you can then push on with D5, but I think queen takes is probably fine, isn't it? I don't think there's much wrong either way. And C3, because I presume part of this will be to try and get your bishop looking down a nice diagonal, so C3 kind of cuts a bit of that, but means that their knight will have a bit of a hard time getting out. But yeah, it's not too much, I suppose, at this stage. It seems pretty balanced. Engine says actually you're slightly better. Yeah.
Knight D2, they're preparing for knight D2 C5 here. Let's see.
And I presume is this kind of pawn push something you play in a lot of the games in the modern? Is that like kind of undermine the centre? Yeah, makes sense. And knight out. Castles. Yeah, there you go. C5. Yeah, this when I kind of looked at this briefly beforehand, this seemed like the kind of strange move from white. I thought if anything this gives you a bit of an advantage because, like I say, long term you want to try and get this bishop out. So I think you'd probably be relatively happy to see this because you can probably take, if not now, then at some point, and start on weakening this diagonal, and your bishop will start becoming quite a useful piece.
Yeah, it certainly looks like time wasting.
Yeah, and that there's no. Well, I suppose it puts a bit of pressure on if they get the bishop out this way, but I was like maybe the other other way, just like they could play like g3 and their bishop out this way to try and harass your queen and get their bishop out. So I don't think there was too much favourable stuff in them for playing b3. Yeah, b6 from you.
B6 apparently was the engine move, but I don't understand why.
I presume just because you want to get it out somewhere, and it's not coming out anywhere around here. So I presume it's just so that it can develop out to b7 is what I was thinking, and then you probably just got two quite strong bishops that cross, not that way, but cross through the board quite nicely.
Wouldn't castles be the best move instead of b6? Apparently not.
So what does the... Yeah, so it gives... Yeah, castles and b6 are the kind of interchangeable, and a6. I presume here you can probably play a lot of kind of slow developing moves. Yeah, b6 to get your bishop out, or castles. I don't think there's much threat from things from white. Yeah, like I say, I'd probably be thinking about when's the best time to try and trade in on this d pawn, and how much can you kind of throw at it, and probably ask them a bit of a question of if they want to take with a knight or leave them with an isolated queen's pawn. But yeah, no, I think b6 makes sense. So. And a4. I didn't really get. I don't know whether they're just planning on playing a5. I didn't really get what a4 was trying to do.
I think it's an inaccuracy.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think both of these moves seemed a bit suspect. I didn't really see what they were achieving, and gives you, like I say, your bishop a bit more scope for plans, and just kind of weakens their structure. Yeah, makes sense getting your bishop out. And then the knight out. Yeah, castling here. Okay, there. Yeah, then queen c7, that seemed like the top move as well from the engine. Is the thought here, what's your kind of setup that you're going for? What's the kind of thought process? Have you got like a plan or anything you're going for, or just trying to optimize where you're putting your pieces?
More optimize than set up, because I'm out of theory now. But I was thinking, okay, rook d8, rook c8, trying to open up that diagonal for the bishop, because I've got such a... Yeah, I mean, when you put the queen on c7, it's staring at h2, and white seems safe, but black seems in a good position too.
Yeah, I think I prefer your position here. Like I said, I think like this weird cluster of pawns isn't really doing white any favours, so I think I prefer your position here, kind of how the setup is. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Next couple of moves, trying to get your rooks there, and then think about what you're going to do against this d4 pawn is probably the next stage of it. Yeah, so they get their bishop out. Yeah, if anything, it's probably a couple of moves too late. It would have been more powerful when you had your queen there as part of the pin. Now it seems a bit late. So yeah, moves out of the pin. Yeah, I thought there might be some like long-term bits, so I'd always get a bit nervous about them kind of lining up against each other, even though you've got a fair few pieces in the way. But I was thinking, given that I'll be looking at trying to take this pawn at some point, I'd get a bit nervous about rook having eyes on your queen, but it's still a long way off that, I think. Yeah, nice. So yeah, you said about getting your rooks to the C and D file, so you achieved that.
Knight d5. That's an interesting move. I can't remember why I played that now.
Yeah, I suppose it looks...
I think I was trying to get to f4.
Yeah.
And I was happy with bishop taking the knight. I didn't... that's explaining my thought process at the time. Remember, a few months have passed, so hopefully I've developed it.
No, I think it makes sense, and it also, because I suppose the two knights are a bit tied up. Particularly this d7 one doesn't really have any squares it can get to. So I suppose by moving that first knight out, I suppose you could then replace it almost with the second one and kind of slowly move them up the board that way. So I think it makes sense.
I see.
Like there. Yeah, you get it to F4.
Is knight f4 best move here?
So what did it
Uh,
say? Yeah, engine says knight f4 best move. It's always quite nice, isn't it, when you kind of go through it and the engine kind of agrees, or it's kind of in the top couple of stuff to go for. So yeah, it kind of kicks the queen around, and it's a relatively advanced square, and kind of uncovers your bishop. So I think that makes sense. And so what's the other? The other option is just replacing it, putting the other knight there. So maybe it'll be some kind of combination of putting your knight there and putting this one here will be the next kind of follow-ups. So yeah, I think it made sense.
Yeah, I think I saw her put queen on f1. I thought surely that's a mistake.
Yeah.
I must try and I thought, oh great, I have a winning chance against someone who's she's such a strong player, former, she's a WF, I'm sorry, not former. Yeah, so I thought, let's see how I can win this.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was like, of all the squares to put it on, I don't think the queen belongs. Sometimes you can see like the bishop dropping back to f1 and some stuff, but I don't think the queen really belongs there. But yeah, I suppose there's nothing immediate for you to try and capitalize on, but like your knights maybe got some potentials of coming in here, and it's lying up there. It's just causing, I suppose, a bit of a nuisance where it is, and their queen's super passive, but there's nothing immediate to break through. But yeah, engine's giving it you plus 9.9 advantage, so you're definitely better. But then it doesn't like you chopping it off. You remember what the thought process was on this one?
I just thought it was a strong knight. I think I wanted to put my knight on f6, and knight on e4 would have taken knight on f6, and I wouldn't have had. I for some reason I wanted my knight on f6. Sometimes you get caught on some ideas, and you think, great, knight on f6, and then knight on g4 or e4 in the future, but all that plans couldn't happen with the knight being on e4.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, as I say, maybe it prefers that, and like if they want to trade knights, I think it's fine. It kind of it's the other way of getting rid of their centralized knight. But I'm surprised it gives it such a kind of change in evaluation when you take it. Maybe it's just because that bishop is going to be quite a strong piece if you left it there throughout the game that it's now gone. But rook takes. Yeah, so it seemed to go into like a big liquidation trade down stage of like chopping off the knight, and then some pieces start falling off in the centre here. So they take that with the pawn. Yeah, so I suppose now you've got this line of sight with the rook and the queen, so you want to try and get out of the way of it, but it's not super easy to find squares, is it?
So engine wants queen b8.
Yeah.
What did I think I played queen b7, didn't I?
Yeah. So
I missed the. Wait, did I play queen? I played bishop h6 first.
Is this right? Yeah.
Odd. Okay.
Maybe, and I think it works. Does it? So, because if they go for any kind of discovery, I presume you can get a discovery back again. So I suppose like this would jump to mind, like bishop a6. Can you move your knight to kind of? Yeah. So if you can go knight h3, rediscovering almost, so that they take your knight, but then you take the rook. They'll take a rook, and you'll take back. And what's the damage here? So equal pieces, but you've just damaged their structure, and you get a bit of an advantage back. So we'll give you the credit, and we'll say you'd seen some kind of tactic here, which is, because I presume so. I presume that's kind of part of what bishop h6 is there to do, is to do this.
I must have seen it at the time, but not remember now.
Yeah. And they drop theirs back. But then queen b7. Yeah, fine, and that fails. Yeah, fine. To bishop a6 because it hits your queen with the bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose there was a couple of options here because I was thinking one is you just move your queen back to like one of these squares and then you drop an exchange, so you trade your rook for their bishop, but you went the other way of going rook for queen.
Yeah, I think when there's a thing about the science of blundering,
Right.
when you realize you made a blunder, you start making more emotional decisions rather than tactical ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always tough as well, isn't it? And then like you see the time ticking down, and I suppose probably mentally going from a position where you were in the driving seat and had the advantage for it as well, isn't it? It's then when it's going the other way, you're like, oh, you've got to kind of do something to try and fight it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you move your rook up. I presume you're just trying to keep pieces on the boards.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, we're losing. Let's try and make this as hard as possible to win.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so they defend. Yeah, you get your knights out. Yeah, fine, and then they just hit you with this. I suppose does this work out as just a trade because you can go after their other. Yeah, fine. So you go
Yeah.
rook b8, so it turns into a trade. Yeah, yeah, but I suppose each piece that comes off makes it more challenging prospect. But
Mm.
yeah, so they hit you with a discovery attack. Yeah, I suppose it's going to be hard to see what kind of counterplay you can generate here. Maybe they'll some kind of back rank at some point in the future, maybe because you've got two rooks, but I suppose it's a bit challenging, isn't it? You kind of have to hope that they slip up at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, knight d4. Yeah, just another trade of pawns. I suppose the position's quite open now as well. Your king's going to have a hard time defending itself, and the queen should lift its way out at some. Yeah, okay. So there we go. The queen starts coming out. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? All your pieces kind of getting overworked. That your knight's defending the pawn that's now getting attacked. I don't know.
Overwhelmed completely.
Yeah.
Like lots of material, positions open.
Don't know what's if there's anything like this. Well, yeah, but yes, I suppose it's given everything's like +5 now, so it's kind of challenging to stay afloat. Yeah, fine. I think it was the best move. Yeah, rook d7. Rook over. Yeah, it's tough. I suppose it's like another piece attacking the pawn. Knight back. Yeah, that seems quite a nice tactic of because I presume if you take it back, they just pick up your rook. There. What is it? I want it this way. You can either pick up So either this. It says best move is queen c6, so maybe there's some kind of mate ideas.
Yeah.
Picking up this rook or something like this.
That pawn. Yeah, you can't pick up the knight. Sorry.
Yeah, so you just leave that alone. The knight hops back. Yeah, the rook back. Trade off the knights. I was like, yeah, there's some glimmer of hope maybe that they'll blunder a back rank bit, but I suppose against a WFM, even though they've only got 5 minutes on the clock, they're unlikely to give you even a sniff of stuff with that.
No.
Yeah, I suppose that's quite a nice move, isn't it? Picks up the rook. Yeah, check.
It's painful.
Yeah. And then last move with rook taking on e7.
Yeah.
So it was a really interesting game. Like I said, the opening definitely went your way. I think probably part of playing the modern and kind of the theory more than your opponent definitely paid off, didn't it? It was just then I suppose pretty much just one move that when the bishop came down here, that was pretty much the only thing that went wrong, and then from then you couldn't really do too much about it.
Yeah, I didn't see it. The move, like this is a long game, and what happens when you get down calculating one line. Uh, in long games, you always have to remember to have a bird's eye view. So I just completely missed bishop a6.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to miss these things like in long games, but it happens.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, it definitely does. There's particularly there's so much going on as well, and you've just kind of had to stay concentrating to get to this stage because what is like move 20 at this stage, but yeah, I suppose it's just a one move bit, and then I think all your moves even after that were the right things to do and kind of sensible stuff. It's just tough once you kind of gone down the material to hold on. You kind of need your opponent to give you something back, and that she didn't give you anything back.
Yes.
Cool. Well, no, it's been interesting. Thanks for sharing it. It's been useful to look at.